These games matter now. So otherwise, not today because there is actual news, but otherwise, Sal, I'd be ready to go on. I mean, they are opening a new stadium. It will be kind of cool to try to predict or imagine who they're going to play.
Yeah, for sure. They have there's certainly several choices. Would be a great opening game, night game. I think the NFL does like to highlight the new stadiums early on. We know that. Would it be maybe week 1 or week 2? I think week 2 is very likely because you get week 1, the other games they can highlight plus an extra week to get the stadium ready, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I had Chris Emma on today from our sister station in Chicago, The Score, and I said, "What do you think? Bears at Bills prime time?" He said, "Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds right." So he was all aboard a maybe Bears Bills primetime game this year.
The schedule is great. Almost everybody's good. It won't be the Dolphins. Well, it could be a team like that because of the history, but really almost everybody on the schedule, just not Dolphins or Jets, is a really interesting matchup this year. All right, well, we did end up getting some of that in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
4 players released today. You've been asked a few times on different shows what might be a surprise cut. I don't think there is one here. Maybe Taron Johnson comes the closest, but you're not going to tell me that it's that surprising, I think.
No, not that surprising. I think that considering the affinity for the player, what he's been to the organization, I think that there would always be a willingness or a want to maybe try and work it out some way. This, though, as I think we talked about at the combine after hearing from Brandon Beane, it was clear this move was not about Taron Johnson, the player. This move is about the defense. Like, he just kind of doesn't fit anymore, Mike. You know what I mean? And you're paying him a lot of money. Now, I think the rub here is, well, you're only saving a little bit by releasing him. Really, $2 million, less than that. But it is $2 million, and you can use that. The pushback I got today from people, or at least that I saw from people, was, well, why the heck didn't you make it a post-June 1 cut? Now, let me explain the way post-June 1 cuts work for people, because I think there is some confusion. You designate a player a post-June 1 cut right now when you release them, and he is automatically a free agent. It doesn't mean he's on your team until June 1st. But the reason you do it is you save more money. You save more money by doing it that way. So it counts kind of as a cut for next year, but you have to spread the dead cap hit over 2 years. So you save way more money. They would have saved like $8 million by doing it post June 1. The difference is you don't get to use that money until June 1st. So the Bills get $2 million to use now in free agency versus waiting till June 1st to have $8 million open up. I understand people who would think that would be the better option, but they clearly need to have room to operate and felt this was the better course of action and take the dead cap hit right now.
Man, I would love to have that choice for myself in real life. Take $2 million today or wait probably longer than a couple of months. That'd be easy to say yes to.
Mm-hmm.
If I know I'm going to have $8 million on June 1st, I would definitely pick that.
Well, obviously, real quick, but obviously March 11th is free agency. By June 1st, there's really no,
I
free
know.
agency has dried up. But we also have been in situations, Mike, where you've seen they did sign, I think, Leonard Floyd after June 1st a couple years ago, and they've needed money to make trades the last couple years they didn't have, where that could come into play. So I understand both sides to it here from fans.
Yeah, me too. I'm daydreaming, thinking of a Brewster's Million situation where if I could take some money now, but I could win a lot more if I'm just patient.
Yes.
What is it? What's the food in the game where I'm losing my mind here. The kid has what?
The marshmallows?
Is it marshmallows? Okay, thank you for bailing me out. One now or 2 later.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Anyway,
I think that's it.
Curtis Samuel. Let's wait on Curtis Samuel. Rapp and even Dane Jackson while we're in the secondary.
Yeah.
Sal, Rapp is also no surprise.
No, that's one I've been telling you guys for a while that I would expect, along with Samuel, which we'll get to. Those are the two. The two main guys I felt all along, like, yeah, they're going to move on from them, are Taylor Rapp and Curtis Samuel, just because of what you save and where it's gone with them, I guess, with the organization. So Taylor Rapp moves on, but now you do have to find another safety.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Another safety here next to Cole Bishop. Jordan Hancock could be an option there. We haven't talked a lot about him, but he had a pretty uneven rookie year, but so did Cole Bishop. So maybe he becomes somebody. They do have Wande Owens under contract, who's a nice athletic guy from college, but it's not somebody you would think would move the needle, but I have heard nice things about him. But I think other than that, you're looking at, okay, what do they do at safety here? Is that somebody you get in free agency? Is that somebody that you draft? So I think Taylor Rapp's, release kind of does bring that even more into question. Dane Jackson's interesting. I didn't even have Dane Jackson on their roster, but then I revisited and say, wait a minute. The reason why he's on the roster is they signed him after the regular season last year. This regular season was over. They needed him, or right at the end of the year, whatever it was. They had to have him. I think it was right when the playoffs started because they had so many injuries and they could only elevate 2 players. They actually signed him to the active roster, and by doing that, they gave him a 1-year deal, which is this year. So now they get to get rid of him, I guess, and clear the money, $1.2 million for him.
Samuel, man, I liked this player when he was younger. They signed
Yeah.
him, the Bills, going into his age 28 season. So he'd been in the league 7 years, as it happens at that point, and it just never got off the ground. He's not alone in this, but he's kind of an example, a poster child of where the Bills have gone wrong, I would say, at receiver. Some of it's luck. I mean, he got hurt before his first season, right, in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But still, like 45 catches in 24 games, including playoffs, did not cut it.
It didn't work out so well. And, this is a player that the Bills brought in part because Joe Brady worked with him in Carolina and had success with him.
Uh-oh.
And that's right. And that's something we're talking about now with Joe Brady working with DJ Moore. And, people want to revisit and say, wait a minute, well, that didn't work out so well when you brought in Curtis Samuel. Totally get it, but injuries were a part of that. And it just felt like Curtis Samuel wasn't the kind of guy, everything I heard. I had Chris Emma on today from The Score in Chicago. And I asked him actually about Sam. I remember you yesterday. I was listening to you, and you brought up how you brought it with me how a couple questions about maybe running routes or not finishing plays or something like that. And Chris Collins were talking about
DJ Moore, yeah.
DJ Moore, and I actually brought that up to Chris Emma. Chris Emma said, "Listen, that was one time. It was a miscommunication. Collinsworth made a really big deal out of it. He actually brought up the point of multiple times throughout the season." That DJ Moore went to the medical tent and came out and came back in and played. Like, he is a gamer. He wants to play. He wants to be on the field. He is not like that at all. So just like that was his perspective of covering him. And the reason I bring this up is Curtis Samuel always felt to me like a guy that if he was a little banged up, he was unavailable. You know what I mean? Like, it was just something where not necessarily chronically injured, but maybe not fighting through a lot of things. And it seemed like maybe things just kept happening and piling up, and it never was where he really was that same guy who wanted to push through everything.
Interesting. I'll defer to you on that. I was listening this morning to that interview, and you even got some hockey in. Those are the scenes right now. Those are the scenes. Even when Sal's talking to a Bears guy, it's also going to include a thing on the Blackhawks, which I get. Sal Capaccio on the West Her hotline, and like that's the four cuts. I talked to Sam Panayotovich earlier today while we're doing this, and he said, I asked him, what's your version of DJ Moore's reputation in Chicago? Not that he lives there anymore, but those two guys are always talking about the Bears. Joe Ostrowski lives in Chicago, and he said all good things. Also, Sal, like he said a lot of the same stuff you were just relaying to me. So I don't want to make more out of it than this, but it is part of the story, on more like just even if it is a couple of isolated things that come to mind. It is like Diggs to me, where when Diggs was acquired, oh, wow, well, look at the route, the technique, and you don't know how good he is. So there was that, but there were just sort of like, what went wrong in Minnesota? Like, why was there this drama and whatever else? And what did we get? We got elite level production for a few years, and then we got drama from Diggs. So really, I don't know if it's fair to think of the two the same way, but that's what comes to my mind. Is it's familiar talking about DJ Moore. How good is he really? That's what we did with Diggs. And are there other things I have to think about?
I get it. Yeah, and I guess like I said to you yesterday, you're going to have to be really comfortable with those answers when you start asking and you look into it. And if Joe Brady and Brandon Beane have looked into it as much as they should, and I would trust they would in this situation by giving up a second rounder, then they got to be in the money that comes along with it. However, it's diced up. You're still a lot of money there. You got to be really comfortable with the player you're getting and the character you're getting and the lack of the drama and all that kind of stuff. But it's funny. He is, as I said yesterday with you and we talked about, he is like the number one guy in the Bills, but I don't consider him like a true number one. He's kind of, in that next tier below, I guess, maybe. So I still think they could add to the position, and I don't know if that means I can't see them getting like that true elite number one to go out and trade for that, but I still think they could add to more of the top end of the depth chart in some capacity than the bottom end.
Actually, I'll say this too. It's also Amari Cooper for me when the Bills got him. Because okay, well he's had some blow up games in a good way for the Browns and over the course of his career, but I also never forgot when I watched him play one game for Dallas against New England. He was the coldest. He looked the coldest of any person I'd ever seen in my entire life. Where they've got that pouch and his hands like were so deep into his pouch, like I don't know. That's all of this is a little bit unfair, but that's what I thought of when it was Amari Cooper season around here. Okay, thanks for finding some time for me today. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too, Mike. Thanks a lot.